Hello. In this video, we will show you how Spark Workflow and Spark Forms Builder for SharePoint become a powerful business process management tool when combining their capabilities. You will see how easily you could create an approval process through Spark Workflow and let the form's users respond or delegate their tasks, and also track actions of the workflow from within the form itself. You don't need to design anything. You could use ready-made controls for responding and tracking workflow tasks without the need to write any code. Just drag and drop them in your form and you are set to go in less than a minute. Let's see how to create a workflow and a form for this user profile list and combine them together to have a simple integrated solution for adding and controlling users' profiles. First, we are going to create the workflow through Spark Workflow Designer. In every list, there is a link to manage Spark Workflow. From here, the workflow that we are going to be created is linked to the list without any configuration from our side. Click on Manage Spark Workflows to open the Workflow Designer and add a new workflow. In the beginning, let's set the workflow settings. At Custom Workflow Status, add your status options. From here, we are going to create our workflow by dragging and dropping the activities that we want and configuring them. Like set permission for the new user. And add the request approval activity and configure activity. Let's also add the request review activity and configure it. Finally, send notification and change the workflow status steps. If you are interested in how to create workflow in detail, you can watch the tutorial video listed in the description below. And here we are, we have finished the workflow, so we are going to publish it to be ready and use it. After creating the workflow, we are going to create the user profile form and link them together to enable the users to take decisions and actions on assigned tasks within the form itself. Let's get back to our list to create the list form. As you see here, in the user profile list, there is a link to Spark Forms Builder. You will find this link in every single list or library on your SharePoint. So from here, the form that we are going to be created is linked to the list without any configuration from our side. Click on Spark Forms Builder to open the canvas to design the form. Let's auto-populate the form fields and rearrange them. If you are interested in how to customize the design for the form in detail, you can watch the tutorial video listed in the description below. Now we are going to integrate this form with the workflow that we had created. From Form Properties, under Workflow Settings, select the type of workflow you need to connect the form with. We are going to select the Spark Workflow. It is worth mentioning that you can link your Spark form with any type of workflow you have, like SharePoint Workflow or any other third-party tool. As we see here, there are new components appear under the Spark Workflow section in the Form toolbox. It is important to mention that once you define the workflow type, the default dialog of the task actions such as Approval Dialog, Review Dialog, and Custom Task Dialog appear dynamically in the form once the form is submitted and a task is waiting for current logged-in user's decision. However, you can customize these dialogues the way you want by dragging and dropping the dialog that you want to customize it in the form, and redesign it there. For now, I am going with the default setting, so I am not going to add any request action task. But let's drag and drop the action history log dialog, which is a special panel that contains several subcontrols to record and show actions history log details that have been logged during users' interaction with their assigned tasks of running workflows. You can redesign the control the way you desire as well. When you open the form for the first time, there will be no task generated by the workflow for this form. Therefore, there will be no need to show this section. So let's hide it when the form is opened for the first time. Let's add a rule to show and hide this panel. Select the panel. Then, from the top ribbon, click on the Control Rules. Create a new rule. Modify the rule name. Select the rule type formatting. And apply the rule on load. Then add the condition that will show the panel if the control in the repeater is not empty. Then show the panel. Let's now publish the form and see how it works. Let's get back to our list. Add a new user profile. Add the data quickly and submit it. As we see here, the workflow is running and the status is in progress. Click on it. As we see here, the task assigned to Sarah, click on the item to open the form. Click on Submit to take action within the form itself. As we see here, an approval task dialog will open, because the type of the task that we have in workflow is request approval. Take the action approve or reject, or you can pending the task or delegate it. A new task assigned to Mike. Let's reopen the form from Mike's account. As we see here, the previous action has been stored in Actions History log and shows up in the form. Let's take an action. Here, a review task dialog will open, based on the workflow process. By clicking here, you can view the workflow status and tracking information. Let's click on the Delegate button to delegate the task to another user. A delegate dialog will open. Select the user that you want to delegate the task to, then click on Delegate. As we see here, the task has been delegated to Alex. We are going to take the action by user Alex. Click on Continue. As we see here, the workflow task has been completed. We just watched how it's easy to create an approval process through Spark Workflow and let the form's users respond, delegate, and track actions of the workflow from within the form itself. Without the need to write any code, just drag and drop them into your form and you are set to go in less than a minute. Follow us to learn more about advances used for SharePoint and Spark Workflow and Spark Form Builder. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and if you have a comment, please write it down. Thank you.